Hello, and welcome to Contractor Outlook newscast from the coffee shops. My name is Heidi Ellsworth, and Contractor Outlook newscast is all about bringing unique and different information from all parts of the industry, whether it's economy, climate, politics, you never know. But today, it's about technology, and it's a very exciting technology that combines with sustainability in the construction world. I am so happy to introduce and invite Todd Thomas to Contractor Outlook newscast. Good morning, Todd.
Good morning, Heidi. Thank you so much for having me on. I greatly appreciate it.
My gosh, I am really excited about this topic. I've always been huge on both technology and sustainability, and you are bringing both of them into the industry. It's so exciting. So let's start out with an introduction. If you could introduce yourself and tell us about your company.
Sure. So I'm Todd Thomas, the founder of Woodchuck, and Woodchuck is really addressing two major global problems. One is we have way too much waste, and the second one is we have a huge and growing demand for energy. So we have built what we believe is a fairly elegant solution addressing both by tying them together. So specifically, we work with construction and manufacturing companies to divert their waste or divert materials out of their waste. So instead of sending it to landfills, we convert it into biomass and use it to generate renewable energy. So we are reducing waste and generating more renewable electricity. It works really well. We're pretty excited about it. We're still pretty new. We're just in our third year, but we're having some great growth. As you mentioned, in this industry, it's an industry that really is devoid of technology. It's ripe for disruption. So we are using AI image recognition to help us sort these materials and divert them from the waste stream. And it really has kind of flipped the script on sustainability. I think lots of people want to do the sustainable thing, and they're always worried about what it's going to cost them. Well, with Woodchuck, we're going to do the sustainable thing. We're going to reduce your waste, but because we're turning that waste into value, it's not going to cost you anything. We're actually going to reduce your cost. So it's going to save you money, it's going to reduce waste, and it's going to increase renewable energy.
I just love that. It seems to make so much sense, but it's been something really hard to do without the technology side of it because you're having people there making choices. I mean, there's still people involved, but it definitely being able to sort and have that AI identify that makes such a big deal. Now, you said you're in your third year. So let's kind of start out. I'm really, I love origin stories, Todd. So tell me a little bit, how did this happen? How did you get involved and how did it start?
So it really starts with North Star Clean Energy. So North Star Clean Energy is the renewable energy arm of the state of Michigan public utility. So the public utility is CMS. The company that everybody knows is Consumers Energy. That's where you buy your energy from Consumers Energy. Then their renewable arm is North Star Clean Energy. And North Star Clean Energy does solar farms and wind farms and bioenergy. They have 3 bioenergy facilities in the state of Michigan that can burn biomass to generate electricity. Their problem was they didn't have enough biomass, so they were forced to augment their fuel supply with petroleum products. They really wanted to get off petroleum products completely, and they think they need to double their energy capacity over the next 10 years. So they were looking for a solution that would catch them up immediately on biomass, get them off of fossil fuels, and then be able to grow with them and double in capacity over the next 10 years. So what they really wanted was a net new source of bio feedstock. So that meant not forestry, not agriculture, not landscaping. We're all aware of those sources, and to a large extent, there are purposes for those already. We were looking for a net new source of feedstock. So our theory was there's a massive supply of wood waste in construction and manufacturing. And that turns out to be totally true. Last year, the United States sent 42 million tons of wood waste from construction sites to the landfill. And when we do that, yes, we typically pay $2 to bury $1's worth of material in the landfill. And across the entire United States, last year, we spent $2 billion to bury $1 billion worth of materials in landfills. So Woodchuck's mission is to reverse that. We don't want any of that wood going to landfills. We want to turn it all into energy.
That makes so much sense. And I've seen it. Growing up, my dad was a contractor. I've been in the trades now for over 30 years. And I see the amount of wood that's wasted. In fact, I can remember the wood coming home for us to burn in the fireplace, right? Because you don't want to waste it. And it's silly to have it go into a landfill. So as you guys realized you needed to create this stream, that obviously it's there, you need it, but getting the contractors to kind of understand this and join in, tell me how did that come about?
So when you go to a job site, and you're obviously very familiar with this, you go to a job site and there's a big 40-yard dumpster, right? A huge steel box, and everybody just throws everything in there, right? You got
Mhm.
metal and wood and drywall and yesterday's Burger King bag, and it all goes in this big dumpster, right? And it's all commingled together, and it's just a mess, and that's trash. And then we pay someone to haul that away, and then you pay tipping fees at the dump, and it's actually a very expensive way to move material.
It
But
is.
that's really the option. That's the option you have right now. So we do something different. When we go to a job site, we put multiple containers side by side. We put a container for wood. We put a container for cardboard, a container for plastic, a container for metal. We put great big magnets on them with pictures. So it shows you this is clean wood. We
Right.
say it in Spanish. We say it in English. We do that on each container. So it's really obvious what goes in each container. And then we put a camera on the container. So we really turn the dumpsters into smart dumpsters. So we have
Right.
an AI image capture system that's sitting there watching the dumpster. So if someone throws the wrong thing in the wood dumpster, we can notify them immediately to get that fixed. And we build an incentive in. So if you have all these materials mixed together, it's trash, it's nothing, it costs you money to haul it away. If you separate each of these materials, they become commodities that have value and can be sold. So that's what we do. We turn them into commodities, we sell them, and we share the revenue back with the contractor. So we're literally creating a soft revenue stream for the contractor. So we make it as easy as possible to tell what goes where. We put the containers right at the source of the material. So as they're doing their jobs, all they have to do is, instead of throwing it into a single dumpster, they throw it into the correct dumpster. And they're all right there. We make it as simple as possible. And if they make a mistake, the AI will help them and will remind them. So it usually takes us a week or two on a new job site to get everybody up and going. But once
Right.
we do, we get about 99% compliance. At the end of the week or the end of the day, depending on the volume of that job site, our wood containers, 99% wood. Our cardboard containers, 99% cardboard. And it works really well, and it reduces the contractor's cost. In general, our clients, we reduce their cost by 30 to 40%, depending on what their material flow is and the volume of it. But as you know, in the construction industry, waste hauling is a cost of doing business. So if we
Right.
can reduce your waste cost by 30 or 40%, that goes straight to the bottom line. That's
Yeah.
straight cash. It's fantastic.
Plus the possibility of a return depending on how the
Absolutely.
product being sold. Um so I would love an example of some place that you've done this so far. You said, you can already tell 99%. What are you hearing back from the contractors who are taking advantage of this?
So I'll tell you, anytime you work with a contractor, typically they've been doing it the same way for 10 years, 20 years, and there can be some reticence at first.
Yeah.
But once you get the system up and running and they realize it's not really that different, and if they have local haulers they've been working with for years, that's fine. We'll still use their local haulers. We'll subcontract out the local hauling to their local haulers so they don't have to break their old relationships. We want to become partners with those guys. And when we start delivering the savings back to them, they love it. So
Yeah.
a great example, we just did, Ford built a huge EV battery factory in Marshall, Michigan. Huge project, fantastic. Over the course of that project, we diverted 10,000 tons of wood that did not go to landfills. We diverted it and turned it into 10,000 megawatts of clean electricity. And we returned a savings to the contractor of $1.6 million.
Todd, I'm sorry. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. 1.6 million.
Yes.
So are you able to keep up? I mean, with that kind of success, I mean, that it just seems like a no-brainer to me. And I realize it takes some time changing things out, all of that. But this seems like this is the future.
We're starting to grow pretty fast. I mean, like I said, we're still pretty new. We're just, we're just starting our third year, but the word is getting out there. People are starting to hear about it. Google has heard about us. Amazon has heard about us. And so we're starting to get calls from the end clients, right? And they're telling their contractors, hey, we want these Woodchuck guys on our site. So we've got a couple of new jobs where literally Google let their contractor know, hey, we want Woodchuck, get Woodchuck on site. So we're actually this month launching 5 new mega projects. So we're growing really fast. But the beauty of it is we're using cool technology. I mean, AI image recognition, it's pretty cool. But on a job site, what we're doing really isn't that complicated. I mean, if you're building a new EV battery factory or you're building a new data center, there's a lot of people on that job site doing some really complicated, really technical stuff.
Right.
We're really still just the trash guy. We're sorting everything, and we have a cool sorting tool. But at the end of the day, we're sorting trash and hauling off site. So it's absolutely scalable, and we're having some good growth right now. We're pretty excited.
That's great. So let's talk a little bit about the project managers and the supervisors on site. So as they are training their teams to sort, which we all know how to do. We do it at home. We do it in a lot of different places. So as they're teaching them to sort, talk to me a little bit about what that report looks like. Or, I mean, do big flashing lights go off when the wrong thing goes in the wrong bin? Or is it just a text to the project foreman? Just kind of curious, how does that work to help them start changing that culture?
So we want to be on site day one. Even if there isn't any wood waste day one, we still want to be on site day one. We want all of our dumpsters lined up there. We put our great big magnets with pictures and bilingual. And then our project manager goes on site and we do a little training for the guys there on site. So we try to make it as simple as possible and make it really clear so it's easy to comply. And then we put the cameras on. What we find is guys want to do the right thing. And when they know that their boss is watching and their boss cares, well, they want to do the right thing. And the reality is their boss really cares because their boss wants to maximize that revenue share that's coming back to them, right? So they want it to work well. So we have built an SMS gateway into our platform. So we've got the Woodchuck AI platform that connects the cameras and sends the images up to our platform, and we analyze everything. And we have an SMS or a text gateway built into that. So if someone puts, a bunch of plastic or a bunch of drywall or something like that into the wood dumpster, well, the superintendent will get either an email or a text. They can pick what they want to get. Most guys really just want a text because they're out on the job site. So they'll get a text immediately in real time saying, hey, someone just dumped a bunch of drywall or cinder block or whatever it is into the wrong dumpster. Get it corrected. And those guys jump on it pretty fast. And after they get 2 or 3 of these reminders and they jump on the guys that made the mistake, the mistakes kind of stop. And like I said, it takes just a week or 2. And then the job sites are pretty good after that. They run pretty smooth.
I wanted to work with a supplier partner I respect.
I wanted a partner who respected me.
We needed a partner with employees who care as much as we do.
We needed a partner who values relationships.
I wanted a partner that would help me grow my business.
We needed a partner that would help us succeed.
SRS Distribution delivers more than building products. SRS delivers customer success.
And then are you and your team, you're either working with local haulers who are hauling away the debris, or you're coming in and grabbing it. You're working with folks like that. So you're taking care of emptying those and getting those to the right places so that they can get that money back, that savings.
Yeah. So we very purposefully partner with the local providers. So if you already have a relationship with Waste Management or Republic Services or Night Transfer or Green for Life, or whatever you like using, no problem. We'll keep using them. We're going to put one superintendent on site, our own site superintendent or site manager. And then, if you're Republic Services, we're just going to let you know, don't take this wood to the landfill, bring it to our facility and we're going to turn it into bioenergy. Or, this cardboard doesn't go to the landfill. We're bringing it to the local recycling partner. But we strategically want to be a value add to these guys, not a competitor. I would say Republic Services and Waste Management have become great partners to us. They do all of our local hauling. And then as we process this wood, the AI watches for permanent contaminants. So a lot of new construction wood is really clean and is great for energy. But sometimes you get wood that has preservatives in it or fire retardant or some of these other chemicals that can't be used in energy production. So the AI helps us identify that material and we separate that from the rest of the wood. We still use it, but we turn it into industrial products. And that can be topper, filler, solidifier. And really, Republic Services and Waste Management are our biggest purchasers of that of our industrial products. So, so those guys that, like, some people think, oh, Waste Management, Public Services, they're your competitors, they're going to hate you. No, they're good partners. They do all of our local hauling for us, and they buy our industrial products. They're great partners on both sides of the equation.
That's great. Now, these facilities, are they across the country? How is that working?
So we started in Michigan. So we're operating, we started in Detroit, and then we expanded to Grand Rapids. And we really now service pretty much anywhere in the Great Lakes. And this month, we're launching our first project in Texas, our first project in Wisconsin, our first project in Kentucky. So we are spreading out. And really, our sales strategy at this point is to go where our big clients need us to be. So if Walbridge or Clayco or Barton Malo, wherever they want us to go, we're going to go there and help.
Yeah. And so then once you get into these facilities, once you get into these new markets, whether it's Dallas or wherever it may be, then now the word gets out to the other contractors in that area who may also then be able to start taking advantage of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's talk just a little bit about, we talked about new construction. Let's talk a little bit about, for our folks out there who are remodelers, our outdoor coffee shop folks, our roofers coffee shop folks, a lot of doing restoration and or re-roofs. How does that work for you? If they have, does it need to be a certain size of a job, or can it be some of these smaller re-roofs and remodels?
So we kind of work two different ways. For really large job sites, like a data center or an EV battery factory, we will go on site and actually set up our process and operate on site. And that really helps limit transportation and drives additional efficiencies. We also have a lot of smaller clients, like you're describing, small manufacturers or handyman or what have you. For those guys, if they just separate their wood, they can drive their truck full of wood and bring it directly to us at our facility, and they just and drop off their wood with us, and we'll process it.
Yeah.
And when someone like that brings the wood, that's again where we'll use the AI. We'll use the AI to analyze how clean this wood is and what is the quality of this wood, and we'll use it for various different purposes. We want to make sure the wood is used for its highest, best use. So.
Right.
The bulk of our wood, we process and it goes to bioenergy. But sometimes we get wood that's really high quality. Like in Grand Rapids, we work with Founders Brewery, which sounds weird. Like, what wood waste do they have? Well, they ferment all of their beer in oak casks, these big, beautiful, solid oak casks. And it's just beautiful wood. And at the end of the process, it's soaked and smells like beer. And before it was used for beer, they get their cask from whiskey distillers. So the wood smells like whiskey. It smells like beer. It's thick, solid oak. It's fantastic wood. So we process that wood and we bring it to a local company called Michigan Wood Fuels that makes a barbecue chip. So you can buy barbecue chips from Michigan Wood Fuels that will make your grill smell like your local brewery. It's fantastic.
Love it. Oh my gosh. Todd, I think this is just the coolest thing. I have to tell you, I am just so impressed with it. And as you're, as contractors are looking at this, I think it is important that they can track you, obviously, with where you're at, but also kind of looking at when just listening to you, let's talk about the importance of people starting to think different about recycling, right? I think, I don't know, it just feels like people got a little bit burnt out, or they just didn't realize, or there were too many rules and regulations. But with what you're saying, even before Woodchuck comes to your local area, there are going to be people out there who are probably doing recycling, um, debris and such like that. Can you kind of talk to the contractors out there of how important it is to start creating a culture of reuse and recycling?
Interesting. I think the roots for that already exist, right? If you work for a big contractor or you work for, a big remodeler or a big restoration company, right? Every time you do a job, there's leftover stuff at the end of the job, whether it's a half a can of paint or, you buy a pallet of 2x4s and you use 2/3 of it.
Right.
Or, even a cutoff, right? Maybe you still have 6 foot left of a 2x4. Well, a lot of guys, the guys that are actually doing the work, the carpenters, the fitters that trim out, they recognize the value of that. And, so they're like, yeah, well, I'll take this leftover stuff. Don't throw it in the dumpster. I'll take it home and I'll use it for my own home project or my own side project, or I'll paint the inside of my garage with this leftover paint. So I think that mentality already exists. People recognize that these materials, just because you didn't use it on this job site, doesn't mean it's waste. It still has value. And some companies are better at that than others. Like, some companies say, look, if you got more than a half a can of paint, bring it back to the warehouse and we'll redistribute it on a new job site. But a lot of companies aren't real good about that. They just want to finish the job site and get rid of it. So they're happy to let their guys take it. But unfortunately, the most common thing is it just goes in the dumpster and it ends up in the landfill. I mean, not the paint, but all the other stuff. Certainly plywood, 2x4s, all that stuff ends up in the dumpster, and it's so valuable. So I would say let's take what we're already thinking, right? Like, this material has value. Just because we haven't used it all yet, it still has value, and let's use the value of that. I had a contractor recently that did a remodel at my house. So he demoed 3 interior walls, and he threw the drywall in the dumpster, but he didn't throw away a single 2x4. He kept every single 2x4, pulled all the nails out, cleaned it all up, and that's what he reframed the new walls with. He bought a little additional 2x4s, but not a lot. He reused the wood from our existing walls. So I think we need to embrace that mentality more. And you can do it because you want to be sustainable, or you can just do it because you want to reduce cost. It just makes sense. If you can reuse all these materials, that's less new materials you have to buy. It's going to make the job more cost effective for you. And honestly, if you're not doing that, your competitors are, and you're giving away a cost advantage to your competitors. So look at all of your materials, recognize what has value, and reuse it. Put it to a second use.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And one of the things that we're hearing and seeing across the country, but I'm going to give an example of LA, in Orange County, California, we're starting to see is landfills are filling up. So they are limiting what can go in there, or they're charging very high bonds where you have to pay so much money per job. And then if you don't recycle it, you're going to get fined, right? Or it holds up your payments. And that, I think, it's going, once something starts in California or Florida, it just tends to go right across the country. So I know you're involved on that level of, what's going on with sustainability and recycling and all of that across the country. What are you hearing about from landfills and some of the limitations that are starting to happen there?
So again, honestly, I would tell you that's another reason why public services and waste management actually really love Woodchuck, because we have a finite number of landfills across the United States. Just as you said, they are filling up. And if you look at these landfills, they're often 30 to 40% wood by volume. So there's a lot of wood in there.
That's amazing.
So if we can divert that wood and keep it out of landfills, first of all, we get additional value out of that wood, right?
Right.
But second of all, it extends the life of that landfill significantly. So if you're waste management or public services or the local county or the local city and you own a landfill, keeping the wood out of that landfill and keeping the cardboard and keeping the plastic, keep those materials out of the landfill, metals too, keep those out of the landfill. It's going to extend the life of that landfill, because it's really difficult to get a new landfill certified. Nobody wants a new landfill near them, right? So if we can extend the life of our existing landfills by making sure that valuable materials don't get buried there, it's a win-win for everybody. It's a win for the contractor. It's a win for the community. It's a win for whoever was going to have the next landfill next to them. It's all positive. It's all gravy.
Yeah. Across the board. And just the costs, like you said, I have already said, the costs associated are can be crippling, really, for the companies and for the jobs. One of the things that I want to ask too is a lot of when you're talking, I'm going to go back to the remodeling part of it, especially when you were talking about roofing. One of the big areas that is a challenge is asphalt shingles, asphalt roofing, all of those kind of things. Now, I don't think that's part of Woodchuck right now, but what are some of your thoughts going forward into the future for some of these other building materials that either through manufacturing or remodeling? What are you kind of seeing?
So I think there is a renewed focus on looking at materials and finding value in those materials. So certainly we see cement and asphalt roads being recycled all the time. So asphalt shingles, various plastics, there are all kinds of startups looking for what's the best way to recycle these materials. You see a new story every day, turning coconut husks into chairs, or turning plastic into new sturdy walls or fence posts. There's all kinds of stories like that. So asphalt shingles, asphalt in and of itself is fairly recyclable. So there certainly is the potential to take a shingle and recycle that, probably into multiple different types of materials. I was reading an article this morning on a pyrolysis process that takes tires, and it sucks off syngas for energy production. It collects all of the metal that was in that tire that can then be recycled, and it produces black carbon. So it has three valuable components. So you put a dirty old used tire into the pyrolysis process, and then you get syngas, recyclable metal, and black carbon, all of which have value. So that's fantastic. Yeah. If you can do that with a tire, you can do it with anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, where I come from, we would see fields, literally fields of old tires. And what are they going to do with them? Right. And so now they're valuable, just like the things that are coming off the job sites. How can people track you? Talk a little bit about the contractors out there who are listening to this right now, who are going, I'm in, I want to be in. How do they get a hold of you, and how do they kind of track your progress as you grow over the country?
We are really easy to find. Woodchuck.ai. We're on the web, right? Just go to woodchuck.ai. We've got a website there. It's easy to contact us. You can get all the latest and greatest news. There's some cool videos that kind of show you how the technology works. Or I'm on LinkedIn. I'm just Todd Thomas on LinkedIn. Again, pretty easy to find. So yeah, reach out if you've got a big project. We'd love to help. We're really leaning into the AI data center space and the EV battery space, because we just can't build them fast enough. They produce a ton of fantastic wood, cardboard, plastic, metal materials. Yeah. So yeah, if you're building a data center, you're involved in that, or an EV battery factory, give us a call. We'd love to look at your project, see how much we can save you.
Yeah. And I want to say too, and I know we talked about this earlier, but when you said that just there, just maybe I want to make sure we finish on this, is the use of AI on the job site. I think what you're doing in allowing people to start building habits and sort and put those kind of things together with AI is going to become something that we're going to see across the whole job site when it comes to AI checking for safety, checking for production, how things are, making sure everything's following spec. It's really, Todd, you are really on the forefront of all of this, and that's exciting.
We're going to see it more and more. AI is incredibly powerful. It is already ubiquitous, and we're going to see it more and more on job sites. I mean, it's fantastic for identifying errors, for picking up mistakes. For us, it's fantastic for sorting materials. But yeah, I think you can see, inspections becoming dominated by AI. So, which would be wonderful, right? You don't have to wait for that inspector for 3 days for him to show up on site. You can use a camera and do an inspection right there, or use a digital twin. There are lots of ways. So I think we're really going to see AI on job sites. That's just going to grow and grow. We had one reporter wrote an article about Woodchuck and said, this is what it looks like when AI gets out of the lab and gets dirt under its fingers. And I just love that quote. But I think
Love
we're
it.
going to see that more and more. AI is going to become part of construction. It just
Yeah.
makes sense.
It is. There's so many areas from inventory to safety to debris. It's going to do it. So congratulations to you and your company. Very exciting to see this. And for everyone out there, please, as you already heard how to get a hold of Todd, but of course we will have Todd and Woodchuck in our speakers bureau where you can get more information on any of the coffee shop platforms. This is where it's going in the future. So not only following Woodchuck and getting involved that way, but also take this as an initiative to get involved more with your local recycling groups and your waste management and asking them for some of these solutions too. Todd, thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a really fun conversation.
Thank you. Thank you all for listening to this Contractor Outlook newscast. This is the kind of information we're trying to bring from a high level outside the industry and inside the industry that can help you grow your business and be on the forefront of technology and initiatives out there in the greater construction space. Thank you so much. Please check out all of our Contractor Outlook newscasts under the RLW Read, Listen, Watch navigation on all the coffee shop platforms. Be sure to subscribe and set those notifications so you don't miss a single episode. We'll be seeing you next time on Contractor Outlook Newscast.